And welcome to another episode of CAS Minute, where today we're going to talk about recruitment and retention. It's one of the largest issues that the industry faces today because of the lack of accounting graduates, the lack of CPA applicants. Those numbers have declined every year for about a decade. So we've seen major shifts in companies moving offshore. We see a lot of the top 100 firms moving 40% of their work offshore, and that's their solution to the pipeline. Now, I want to understand how and why this came to be. Think about legacy firms and you think about legacy approaches, hourly billing, workload, busy season, things like that. Massive image issue that the accounting industry faces. So, new graduates are coming into the accounting profession their first several years. It is a grind. And I'm not saying that doesn't need to be and that work isn't valuable. However, that model isn't effective for continuing to maintain quality staff. So how do we start to think about recruitment and retention in an environment where we have declining numbers of accountants coming into the profession? One of the things that I think needs to work really, really well in any CAS practice is the relationship between recruiting and sales. There needs to be a tremendously tight bond here. So when I ran sales for a 60-person firm, the recruiting team and the sales team worked very closely together to better understand the relationship of supply and demand. So similar to the sales process, we had a recruiting process that mirrored what we did on the sales side. So we developed a pipeline, we had candidate information, and would walk them through a pipeline just like the sales process. So on a weekly basis in that environment, we were walking through what do sales opportunities look like? What do expected close dates look like? And then similarly, how are we going to service this on the back end with our current capacity or do we need to bring on additional resources? So internally, we were managing this supply and demand really, really closely. From a recruitment perspective, one of the biggest things that we found that connected with individuals that were interested in the profession, interested in the firm, was really looking at that traditional work-life balance. You see that a lot. You see a lot of firms say, hey, great work-life balance. And then when push comes to shove, we get understaffed and then you have to work late, 80-hour weeks during busy season, things like that. When you think about work-life balance in today's environment post-COVID, I don't know that that's an appropriate way to talk about how we work because everybody's connected all the time. And really now today, it's more about that integration. Now, as an employer, you want to ensure that there are very clear boundaries of what that life and work integration looks like. You don't want to overstep your bounds. However, you need to communicate it in a way that allows the new employee to feel like they have capacity in their lives to accomplish the things that they want to. And ideally, the mission, the vision, the value of your company, it mirrors that and it allows for that type of structure to exist. So when you think about how to create a bridge between this work-life balance concept, this current state of work that we live in with constant connectivity, I would recommend instilling some parameters on how and when you expect your team to work. What are the rhythms of your life that are most conducive to working in a time that best suits you? So ensuring that you're on the right technology stack to monitor and to maintain current operations and effective communication amongst the team will enable your team to feel more comfortable if team members are working at different times during the day. I think that's totally fine. We need to have that environment where people feel comfortable going to the doctor's appointment, taking that day off, things like that to maintain a personal well-being, while also ensuring that connectivity remains really high. The next thing that really helps on the recruitment and retention side of things is developing a brand that your team connects to, that speaks to them, that brings their personal ambitions into the realm of your firm. And what I mean by that is not that, hey, as a firm, you're going to help all of your team members accomplish the things that they want to accomplish personally, but rather, how do you align your brand? How do you align your ethos and your messaging in order to create a better relationship there so that when somebody comes into your firm, not only can you share the ethos about your mission, vision, values, but that person feels like it connects to them, that the environment allows them to excel personally and professionally. The brand has a big part of that because when somebody feels like they're connected to the brand and that mission, vision, values, they tend to lean in a little bit more. They tend to tell their friends and say how things are different here. So if you haven't gone through the exercise of creating those and then really messaging it in a way that connects with prospective clients, prospective employees, and then is actually pushed out through your recruitment process, it's going to be really challenging to create the momentum you need to keep up with the sales side. So there's a few thoughts on the recruitment and retention side of our industry, and I hope that's helpful for you. Till next time.